All right, guys, we're going to move on to the keynote presentation now. This is kind of a subset of a presentation that we created at the bottom of the last market cycle, and the overall presentation is called Top Investor Mistakes. And the last time I gave this full presentation, it was a 3-hour presentation. I'm not going to do that to you guys tonight. I'm just going to highlight some of the big questions that I typically see a lot of new investors especially have when they're trying to decide, should I do this or should I do that, or what does this mean, or how do I handle these different types of situations. So first off, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial planner, I'm not an attorney, I'm none of those things, right? I highly recommend that you get all of those people in your life to be a successful real estate investor. What I'm going to talk about in this presentation is really just my experience, what I've seen for myself as well as what I've seen other investors do. So here are some of the top categories of mistakes. Again, we're just going to highlight some of the ones that are starred, and I'll start by asking the question, how many of you guys are saying, want to be a real estate investor, kind of getting started in this? I think it might be a good idea for me to go and get some more information about real estate, so I'm thinking about going to real estate school. Any of you guys thinking about going to real estate school? Okay. Okay. We're gonna ask this question the wrong. I asked this question the wrong way. I'm gonna try it again. How many of you guys are not thinking about getting a realtor's license? Oh. Okay. Well, so none of you guys are really. Anybody in here thinking about becoming a realtor? 1, 2, 3. My friend in the back who's like not a realtor and been investing for like 5 years, like raised his hand just to like throw me a bone. Thank you. I'll get you back for that, but that's okay. So guys, first off, we're going to go through why you should become a realtor or why you should not become a realtor. We're going to go through both the pros and the cons through this part of the conversation. And but first I have to tell you, so I am a licensed realtor and broker in the great state of Texas. License number is 0518223. Does everybody feel really well disclosed to? Did I do my job by track? Yes? Okay, good. So you guys will all get a quiz on this before you exit the room tonight. And I know this is small font, but this is all really good stuff. So I know a lot of you guys are thinking, and some of you raised your hands, some of you didn't. I know more of you guys are thinking about this than admitted. But I see a lot of people say, well, I want to become a realtor because I want to save on that realtor commission, right? Or I want to become a realtor because I want to learn more about real estate investing, right? And they think, well, the place you go to learn about real estate investing is realtor school. Makes sense, right? Yes? How many realtors in the room? Will you raise your hand? Raise your hand. Did you learn anything about real estate at realtor school? Yes. You did. Did you learn anything about, who else is a realtor in the room? Did you learn anything about real estate? In real estate? Did you learn anything about real estate investing in realtor school? No. So for me, I've been a licensed realtor since 2004. So maybe things have changed since then. But on my test, one of the questions was, how many cubic yards of cement are needed to pour a 2-car driveway? Of course, that's knowledge that I use on a daily basis as a real estate investor, as a realtor too. Yes. No, never. Right? Is that test more a test of how well you understand the English language? Yes. Yes? Yes? It is. I've never seen any test in my life, and I've gone through years and years and then years of school, have so many freaking double negatives, and it's like, how do you even have a sentence with a triple negative in it? I don't even know how you do this. It is a test of understanding the real estate language. They teach you to pass the test. What I found is they didn't teach you a whole lot about that was really effective about real estate that all of you guys think, oh, I'm going to learn a lot about real estate. And it certainly doesn't teach you anything about being a good realtor. Did it teach you how to be a good realtor? Did it teach you how to be a good realtor? Not at all. And did it... I just lost my train of thought. You're not going to get out of it what you think you are going to get out of it. And I'll give you an example. The one class I thought was really effective was the contracts class. And I thought this is going to be a good class. The contracts class is a 30-hour class. It's 30 hours to go through a 9-page contract. that's roughly 3 hours per page. And they effectively, at least in my class, my teacher confused the heck out of me going through each one. To fill out a contract, that should be like a 1 hour in and out. Yeah, you got this, right? So it's a lot of just kind of sitting there and not really getting out of it what you think you're going to get out of it. So I would encourage you guys, you're going to probably get more information about real estate investing, being part of the Real Estate Investor Association, than you will getting your real estate license. I will also say, for those of you guys who are thinking, well, I'm going to save money as a real estate investor, so I'm going to save that 3% commission, and on a $400,000 house in Austin, that's real money, right? That's $12,000. So I'll back up and just say that I get it, I understand that, and that's probably one of the reasons why I first became a realtor. But since then, technology has come along and helped us a lot. So you guys met Matt with Listing Spark. Where is Matt? He's not in the room right now. But Listing Spark lists houses for $7 a day. $7 a day. I'm a licensed realtor and broker. I don't list any of my own houses. I hire Listing Spark to list all of my houses. I can't get up, get out of bed, and put all this together for less than $7 a day, right? I mean, you can't, through technology, though, they're able to do this. And I'll tell you, when I was listing the properties that we were buying, fixing, and flipping, I was a terrible negotiator, because the realtor was like, oh, come on, you're making a lot of money on the fix and flip, and you're making all this other money on the realtor commission. Really? Let's just split the difference on this. Okay. All right, fine. But when you have an intermediary between you, man, now it's awesome. You get to be the crazy seller. Yes? It's really cool. So I found I was actually a better negotiator having somebody else do it. And I will say, and the first comment up here is, I see a lot of people who say, well, I want to be a realtor because I want to save money. And I say to them, I get it. After you save money on your realtor's license, then, I just got a quote for a new air conditioning system and new ducts in a property that is one of our rental properties. The AC itself was about $4,000. The new ducts were another $4,000. So that's $8,000. That's real money, yes? So after you get your realtor's license, why don't you go ahead and go on and get your HVAC tech license, right? And then, electrical, to rewire an entire house, that might cost you $8,000. That's real money. So after you get your realtor's license, and to save money, and after you get your HVAC tech, then go and get your electrician's license, right? You will save your money yourself. Just think about that mindset, because that's the mindset that's happening here. You'll save your way out of you'll never even be able to become a real estate investor because you're too busy saving yourself money. So, and I will say, don't try to do it all. Too many new real estate investors just try to do everything themselves, right? And then their business doesn't work the way that it should work. It doesn't work. You stop, and I see this happen all the time. You stop marketing because, now I've got to reduct a house, right? Now I've got to list this house, and I've got this, that, and all these other things to deal with. I'm not doing the marketing for the things that are actually bringing me deals. Some other things. You have to disclose that you are a realtor. For some reason, a lot of realtor investors really don't like the idea of disclosing that they are a realtor. And the truth is, and I've seen this happen, that works, not disclosing that you're a realtor, about 4 out of 5 times. But on that 1 out of 5 times that you don't disclose that you're a realtor, someone's going to find out, and someone's going to turn you into either Austin Board of Realtors or TREC, and that's not going to be a fun experience for you. So do know that there are some disclosure requirements. It's not hard once you get used to it. It should be very easy, but a lot of people just are uncomfortable about it and not really used to it. You also have to use the Realtor promulgated forms. I recommend you use those anyway because they're some of the best forms out there because they account for everything and anything that can go wrong. And specifically the TREC contract, it is impartial to buyers and it's impartial to sellers. So that's a great contract to use. And when you're talking to a seller about this particular contract, one of the cool things you can say to the seller is, this is the standard. This is the one everyone uses. This is the one every title company uses, right? And that will make them feel comfortable. A lot of people will say, well, gosh, who's going to feel comfortable signing this 9-page document? Well, once you sell it as this is the standard, everybody, right? Everybody. I've only had one seller that I literally had to write the contract on a yellow notepad in my entire almost 14 years of investing, because he did not want to use that form. But very, very, very rarely will you encounter someone like that. So let's see. Just because you are a realtor, just because you went to realtor school, does not make you an expert realtor. I'll give you an example. One of the houses that we bought early on in our investing was on 46th Street. So right in the Hyde Park area, okay? The interesting thing about 46th Street is the houses on the south side of 46th Street go to one elementary school district, and the houses on the north side of 46th Street go to another elementary school district. One is Northridge, and one's, I can't remember the name of the other one. But one of those school districts, you're probably like, what's the point here? One of those school districts is exemplary, and one is not. Do you think that might affect the value of that property? Did you learn that in realtor school? No, you don't. Yeah? Any other realtors learn that in realtor school? No, you don't. Just because you have a realtor license does not make you an expert realtor, does not make you have all of this tribal knowledge that a lot of experienced and expert realtors have. Don't think, I got this, when you really don't maybe have a clue. You would have thought, so the big intersection right next to that is 45th Street and Duval. 45th Street and Duval is like, four lanes and, all these, stoplights. That would have made sense to have it there. Yes? And that's where you would have pulled your comps just north of there. It didn't make sense to have it where it was. This street, 46th Street, does not have a yellow line on it, does not have a bicycle lane on it. It is a regular residential neighborhood. You don't know that until you dig in. Floodplains. Are floodplains in Allendale an issue? Yes. A lot of brand new investors, I've seen them get properties under contracts from wholesalers, and the wholesalers don't mention that it is in a floodplain. Will that affect the value of your property? By a lot. Will that affect your ability to get a building permit? Yes, it will, right? And will that cost you a lot in insurance? Oh, yes, it will, right? Do they teach you anything about floodplains? They maybe, no, I don't, did they? They taught you a little bit? But they didn't teach you enough, right? They didn't teach you, here's what to look for, right? And a lot of the agents, they're putting like, so for the floodplain listing in the MLS, you get 4 choices. Yes, no, unknown, and see agent. If there's no survey, the realtor's going to say, well, I don't know, right? You go under contract, you get that survey back maybe a couple days before you close, and you say, uh-oh, yeah? So guys, just because you get your realtor license doesn't mean you're all-knowing in real estate. It's not how that works at all. It also is, it can be expensive. I think the startup costs for a new realtor is somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. That's all in to get through all of the training and to get the license, fingerprinting, all that sort of stuff, registered with the MLS as well. And that's not a huge expense, but the issue is you have to maintain this license, right? As a new investor, you're going to be spending, as a new realtor, you might be spending 60 hours or more in your first couple of years just maintaining that license. So that takes time, right? And it takes time, again, away from your actual investing business. Realtor tips for me, I hire Listing Spark. Even though I'm a licensed realtor and broker, I get them to list for me. I will say, guys, if you want to drive people around in your car and you want to list your houses for your friends, family, relatives, referrals, go out and be a realtor, right? You are realtor material. But if you are just doing it to save money, you're barking up the wrong tree. And then finally, I'll say, man, you have to have a great realtor on your power team if you're going to be a real estate investor. If you are using Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, fill in the blank to get your comps, why don't you go ahead and doing it all yourself, right? I don't need no stinking realtor, right? And a lot of real estate investors do not like realtors. But if you're going to use free information off of the internet to buy a $400,000 house in Austin, and I'm going to do all this myself, why don't you go ahead and at the same time, let's just kill two birds with one stone. Go ahead and download the bankruptcy paperwork, right? Because that's where you're heading. Is Redfin, Trulia, Zillow a good source of getting great comps? No, right? The realtors, we can all agree on that one at least, right? It's not, is it directional? Yes, but sometimes is the value a little more, a little less? Yes, right? Texas is a right to privacy state. We don't disclose, except in the MLS, for a property that's sold in the MLS, how much something sold to. We don't write a letter to Redfin, Trulia, Zillow, any of these people and say, hey guys, just want to let you know what we sold the property for and what this value should be, right? They don't have all that knowledge. Please don't use that. All right, next topic, next subject. Rehabbing mistakes. I see a lot of new investors who want to do all the rehab their entire selves. Great. That means your rehab is going to take about twice as long. Ask any hard money lender, you say you're going to do it yourself, twice as long. Why is that? Because when it is 94 degrees at almost 9 o'clock at night, you're going to be like, yeah, let's go over there and knock some walls out. For the first 5 minutes, maybe. But once the air conditioning wears off of you from your car, you're going to not be over there as much as you otherwise would. Ask any investor who's been doing this for a while, and they'll tell you it always takes longer. Most new investors over-improve a property. Most new investors put in my favorite colors, granite and stainless steel, in every property, regardless of whether or not they need to put in those types of improvements in that property. So be sure, again, with your investor-friendly realtor to look to see, man, what are other people doing in this neighborhood, and improve to that level. Because if you gold plate a house in Southeast Austin, you're not going to get that back. You need to, and this is really important for new investors, think like a bank. Think like a bank. What does that mean? Your end buyer is probably going to bring a lender with them, right? They're going to finance the house. They're going to put 5, 10, 20% down, and they're going to bring a lender with them. That lender is going to send out an appraiser. The appraiser may say, yeah, this is a beautiful house. Great job, investor. And yes, you got that house under contract for $200,000. But unfortunately, the highest comp in the neighborhood is 180. So congratulations, even though you got that sold at 200, we can't finance more than 180. So that means they come back to you and say, what are we gonna do? Gotta lower the price, right? Think like a bank. Don't over-improve it. You guys are not living there. Don't pay your contractors up front. How many of you guys know someone, I'm not going to ask you because you guys are all too savvy, how many of you guys know someone who gave money to a contractor and then the contractor ran off with the money? If I would ask how many of you would have been like, oh no, not me. But I know I've heard of a guy, right? Guys, please don't give all the money to the contractor as you get started. That will be a mistake. Don't go with the lowest bid. Switch out your contractor if something starts to go wrong. Your best bet for making sure nothing goes wrong is a great scope of work. On average, for me, for every $10,000 I spend on a project, I'm doing a one-page typewritten scope of work. So on a $40,000 project, I'm usually doing 4 pages of detail in terms of my scope of work. That should be your rule of thumb as you are working with a contractor and doing these deals. Next question you may have, well, how long is this project going to take me? A $60,000 project should take you 12 weeks. On average, you're going to spend about $5,000 a week. Now, if the city of Austin is your partner in building, I use the term partner very loosely here, okay? You may only spend somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a week, which means it will take you longer to do that project. So do be aware of that when you're budgeting time. Yes, sir, Mark?
When you're going to do a fix and flip, do a little bit of remodel, how long does it usually take to actually get a permit if you need one? Months?
So the question was, how long does it take to get a permit? I'm building several houses right now. Building new, yes.
Do you have to have an engineer?
Oh yeah, engineer and architect.
Do you have to have an engineer?
It depends on whether or not you're moving walls. If you're moving walls, they may want to come in to see, do we need to put an engineered beam in here, right? You'll need to go through permitting for that. It depends. If it's a very straightforward situation, 2 months, very straightforward.
Does everything need to be designed by an architect to remodel, or can you
no.
go in there and word of mouth, tell them what you're doing?
You can go in there and tell them what you're doing. If you are adding square footage, if you're going outside of the existing footprint of the home, they're going to want you.
You're going to have to permit.
Yes, without a doubt, without a doubt. What was the other thing I was going to say? If you are doing some type of a zoning change, 6 months to 12 months. Okay?
That's another good question.
Please keep that in mind when you get a hard money loan.
The zoning thing, how do you find out? The realtor will tell you?
Did you learn anything about zoning in realtor school? Yeah, I didn't think so. Sir, you? No? Oh, big surprise. Okay, yeah. Yeah, a realtor's not going to tell you. So if you go to the city of Austin, they have a chart on their site that lists all the different zoning codes and what you can do in all of those different codes. Going to the city, so you get there and you'll start on the first floor and they'll tell you to go up to the 4th floor and they'll tell you to go to the 8th floor and then they'll send you to the 6th floor and they'll send you to the 1st floor and the 1st floor send you back to the... Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, if you like going up and down stairs. Yes? Do you use permit expediters? Yes. In certain situations. And sometimes the permit expediters don't expedite in the way that you think they're expediting. Yeah. Don't let your project go dark, meaning make sure your contractor has somebody there at least 5 days a week. One of the biggest things I'm seeing right now is contractors are so busy, they can't say no on a job. They cannot say no to a job. Cannot. Got to keep their pipeline full, which means they're going to be at your house 3 days, somebody else's house 3 days, and then somebody else's house 3 days, which means it's going to take you now twice as long to finish that project. Make sure your project does not go dark. Get a hard money loan that will be sufficient in terms of both time as well as in terms of money. If you are doing a zoning change and you're getting a typical hard money loan that's 7 months, you're going to be at month 7 and you will have not possibly removed the existing structure and probably will not have broken ground on the new structure. All the while you're paying $2,000 to $3,000 a month in hard money payments, and then your hard money loan is due and they say new points or cash me out of this loan. That can be very expensive to you as a real estate investor. Doing too many change orders, again, it's all on your scope of work. If you have a good scope of work, this will go well. If you have a terrible scope of work, you'll make a lot of change orders. Be very specific in your bid. Again, 1 page for every $10,000 you spend. This one's I want to highlight on this particular thing, on this particular slide. On this one, I see, being in Austin, we have a lot of people who come here from Utah, from California, from Florida, who come here to talk to you guys about real estate investing. And what I've found is most of these people have no idea how real estate investing works in Texas, specifically in Austin, Texas. So I will say, guys, be careful on who you get your information from, and make sure you're getting it from the right people who know actually what works and what does not work in Texas. Gurus are awesome about telling you what works in their state, but when you ask them to get specifics on your state, that's when they say, oh no, we don't answer questions. What? What? No, where's the contract? Well, I don't know. Go to your local RIA. That's why you guys come here, right? Because they can't answer your questions. They can't partner on your deals. They can't fund your deals. They don't know how to tell you to find local access to the MLS. They don't know where the deals are, what the areas are, what the neighborhoods are, so they can't help you really evaluate and analyze a deal. They don't know the laws in Texas, how to fill out a contract, let alone where to get the contract. What title company do you use as a real estate investor, right? A lot of these out-of-state groups, how would they know? They don't invest here, right? It's about, again, finding people who invest here. Again, this is, for our group, we call it Texans, teaching Texans how to invest in Texas using strategies that work in. Okay, 3 of you are so sharp and on it, and I appreciate that. A lot of these out-of-state gurus are slick, as we say here in Texas, all hat and no cattle, right? All right, so buying properties in an up market. In an up market, you will pay a little bit more, but please be careful, because the inflection point when the market changes like this is sometimes a 6-month time period. So if your project took 6 months, then you may be at that inflection point. So you need to be aware and watching the market updates that we do every month to know when those are, right? Change your strategy as the markets change. It's one of the things Phil talked about during his presentation. We have a different strategy based on where we are in the market, right? We have a different strategy based on what that seller's equity position is and what that seller's motivation level is. You will want to have the same. As the market changes, you'll want to bring in your financier as your partner. A hard money lender will foreclose on you. A partner is not going to foreclose on you. So start thinking different as you hit those inflection points in the marketplace. Same with the down market, except it's obviously not okay to pay more in a down market because prices are going down every day that you hold that property, right? Or the number of buyers are starting to disappear, right? So do be aware of that. We don't take on big projects when the market is going down because, again, if you're investing, start here, and 12 months later, 18 months later, you're here, that's an issue. Depending on where we are in the market cycle, and again, depending on the seller motivation and equity level, our strategies change. Your strategy should change, right? What we've found for us is when you look at the market, typical market cycle is 3 to 5 years up, 1 to 3 years down. 3 to 5 years up, 1 to 3 years down. It goes down at twice the rate that it goes up. So when you are trying to finish a project, sometimes you cannot get out of that project fast enough, right? So you need to be very aware of where you are and adjust those strategies accordingly. A little bit about seller psychology. It's kind of an interesting thing. When you're talking to a seller, they're going to say, well, the neighbor's house across the street, right? When the market's going up, that's great. That's a great data point. But when the market's going down, and 6 months ago the neighbor sold the house for this, right? That works to your disadvantage. So it's one of the things that you guys have to do is learn some of the different closing strategies that you work on and understand that seller psychology as you're walking in to be a better real estate investor. Guys, we'll give you an opportunity to learn more. First off, we'd love for you all to, for those of you who are not already members, we'd love for you to join our association. Again, we meet twice a month and do a different keynote presentation just like this every month. And then, of course, at our 3-day training, it's Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas. We know this area, we know this market. You're learning from people who really do this here. And I'd love to have you guys there. As a member of the association, you guys get a free ticket to that. And guys, I want to say too, thank you guys. It's almost 9 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and we'll see you at our next meeting. Have a great night.